With the recent airing of Owarimonogatari Season 2 bringing the show ever closer to its end and rousing the community to a collective circle jerk, I like to look back on the show and travel through what's essentially been an 8-year journey. Yeah, Bakemonogatari first aired on July 3rd, 2009, and it's been one hell of a showing. What better way to look back on Monogatari as we wait for Shaft to drop us an announcement for the final few adaptations than to scour through all the characters we've met and seen and see which one stands out at the top. Of course, this is just my personal favorite arc, and not necessarily one that might be objectively the best arc.
助けたんじゃない。僕は今、自分を助けたんだ。
With the airing of Owarimonogatari Season 2, my choice almost waned over to Ogi Dark, that being the last arc for Owari Season 2, which reveals the truth behind Ogi. It was truly a twist that I never expected, and Araragi's decision was just too beautiful and too amazing, and was such an Araragi way to get things done. Before that, I might have said something like Kizumonogatari, and the story of how everything started in the first place. Kizumonogatari really set the tone for Shinobu's character and really sheds a lot of light as to why the dynamic between Araragi and Shinobi is the way it is. But in the end, I still unequivocally love Sodachi, and her two currently adapted arcs of Sodachi Riddle and Lost.
だって潰れちゃうよ。目も身も潰れちゃうよ。幸せの重みに耐えられない。今さら幸せになるよりぬるい不幸に足首まで使って適当にしのいでいきたい。靴をずぶ濡れにして生きていきたい。
So why Sodachi? Among every character we meet and almost every arc revolves around one common theme or tribulation, that is, the inclusion and problem of an apparition or the supernatural. Senjokuhara is afflicted with a crab, Mayoi is a lost cow and afflicts Araragi, Tsuruga is afflicted with the rainy devil, Nadeko essentially ends up cursing herself with a snake, Hanekawa's cat apparition is a new type apparition created by herself that possesses her every night. Karen gets afflicted by Kaiki with a fake apparition, but according to Kaiki, the fake can be even greater than the real, so it's still worthy as an apparition nonetheless. Tsukihi is literally an apparition, a phoenix. Shinobu is a vampire herself, the queen of apparitions. Ogi is an apparition created by Araragi. Ononoki is a doll created from a ghost, but Sodachi is just a normal person. She has no apparition attached to her. Sure, we are in a way introduced to her through Ogi and her trapped room, but Sodachi herself is not involved in any apparitions. She herself is just a normal person, who has no business being anywhere near the supernatural. And it's her inclusion in the cast of characters that are so tied with the supernatural that really stands out to me. From the standpoint of all of the other characters, their problems are exemplified through the supernatural. Kanbaru's jealousy and subconscious want to be at the top led her to wish upon the rainy devil. Nadeko's want to dispel the curse in turn led her to actually set the curse on her. Karen's justice led her to face Kaiki, who then set upon the flame reef bee on her, proving to her how fake she really was and how weak she was in the face of danger. But what about Sodachi? Her hatred towards Araragi and her own problems with her dysfunctional family is all on her. It was no apparition's business. Sodachi found herself in a rut created by the very people around her, and she sought to fix it herself, not through the use of some supernatural entity, but by her own power. That was when she met Araragi. It is this unfiltered and this unhinged story beyond the scope of everything we've been exposed to from Monogatari that made me really latch onto Sodachi and feel a greater sense of sympathy for what she's going through. One of the main things about Sodachi is how distant she is from everyone else. She has the nickname How Much because of how cold she looks from the outset, and she also garners a competitive personality. To an extent, she also only sought out Araragi as a friend so that she can use his parent status to help with her situation at home. When she figured out that it wasn't happening, she jumped ship. So it isn't hard to see her being the lone wolf. She's always been alone. And to really push forward that idea of loneliness is the fact that she doesn't have an apparition around her. What's great about Sodachi's character being not only the one that's the most normal is that it also fits her character arc. She's alone from the physical and spiritual world altogether. Even when she was taking care of her mother, she failed to realize that her mother had long died and that she was in fact all alone. I can relate to Sodachi and see where her story comes together, not through needing some kind of specialist knowledge. Her problem doesn't need some kind of outlandish superhero move that Araragi pulls out of his immortality, but it's a problem that can only be solved in a normal way using normal methods. Sodachi's story to me is beyond the realm of the monster story, of the Bakemonogatari that the show so often uses for all of its characters. She's such an oddity, such an apparition for being so normal that it serves as a reminder for me that the world they inhabit isn't just filled with apparition problems, that Araragi isn't just some dude who fixes all the supernatural things in this town, but that deep down he's unbelievably human with human problems. In the end, Sodachi grounds not only the entire series for me, but also for Araragi as a character. She grounds him by not only making him remember his roots, but by also making him face his past and being able to move on from it in a way that's not diluted by the supernatural. But among other things, I also quite enjoyed the conclusion of her arc and how they framed her character. We are introduced to Sodachi as this ice queen who has the guts to stand against Senjokuhara. It only gets worse from there the more we learn about Sodachi and how she tried to use Araragi, but once we get to her apartment after everything's said and done, she calms down a peg. We see her in such a different light perfect at what seems to be a drop of a hat, but that's just her character. She's such an explosive and fragile person that could break at the seams because of what she's been through. She can't find happiness and she's all alone. They framed her in one way and then completely turned our expectations of what kind of person she is and why she is the way she is. She has such a deep-seated past and backstory, and things just make sense for me, and the show does such a good job in making her character so vivid. In the end, isn't her character just that? A normal girl? She's not some kind of supernatural hard-headed person who's toughing it out. She's hurting all the way, and she's been in pain, and she's been having to shoulder so much that she would seek out the help of Araragi. She would go so far as to lower herself and to play this act to get help, and once that doesn't come, she's torn apart even more.
18ヒント19ヒント20ヒント21ヒント22ヒント23ヒント24ヒント25ヒント26ヒント27ヒント28ヒント29ヒント30ヒント30ヒント30ヒント30ヒント30ヒント35ヒント30ヒント39ヒント40ヒント40ヒント45ヒント47分かったよもう
Along with that, Sodachi Lost also gave me one of my favorite scenes of Monogatari, that being the hint scene, and also fleshed out Ogi as this mysterious and yet seemingly incredibly smart person. Apart from Sodachi, Ogi really did step up to the pedestal for this arc and not only gave us heated and intense back and forth with Hanekawa, but really proved to be this strange anti-hero and almost serving as an antagonist for Araragi and Hanekawa. But yeah, no matter how great Ogi Dark was, and no matter how amped I was in seeing Kizu Monogatari, Sodachi Riddle and Lost introduced me to the one character of Monogatari that was unlike any other. She was the character who I hated, and yet loved in the span of a single arc, a character who existed at both polar ends of the spectrum, and a character that gave such a human story to such an inhuman series. Except we still haven't seen the last of her. I don't know what exactly will happen in Sodachi Fiasco, which is the last remaining arc we have of her, but hopefully it shows off the development that we've seen from her character.